next guest we have wrote a book. Patti A. Williams, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Now, I want to start by saying this. They say anybody could write a book, but very few can finish writing a book. And you did it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It took me 30 years, but I got it done.
And I was reading about the book, one woman's journey through this, ups and downs and trials and tribulations. And I didn't realize it's a true story, and it's your story.
It is my story, yeah. It doesn't really, in the description in the back, it doesn't really talk about why I call it Becoming Bearheart, but that is the title of the book. And part of my experience, we'll start from the beginning.
Okay, what kind of experiences did you have that led you to eventually write a book? You said you started journaling.
I started journaling after my mother was murdered in 1986. Wow. And it was a pretty horrific event that created a lot of emotional trauma for me. And I didn't know anything about PTSD back then. I knew a little bit because my husband is a Vietnam vet, so he came back with some PTSD. So I knew a little bit about it, but I really hadn't researched it, and I didn't realize just how serious it could be. So at any rate, I started journaling to try to help myself. I tried therapy, just regular talk therapy wasn't doing a lot for me. I wasn't getting to the depth of my issues. So I started...
How old were you when this happened?
So I was 21 when it happened. And by the time I reached out for help, I was probably 25 or 26. So the damage that gets done in the body when there's that level of unresolved trauma is lifelong lasting. And if I had known ahead of time, of course, in hindsight, 2020. But at any rate, what I attempted to do was start seeking out alternative ways of working through it. And I hadn't ever really been a religious person in terms of any particular type of organized religion. I wasn't raised with any type of organized religion. So I started just searching, and I went to every church I could find. Every single, anything that was out there that would let me in, I went. And each time I came out with more questions than answers. So finally I was at a retreat and for women that I had been invited to by my therapist, and met a medicine woman from a Native American tribe. And she was performing a traditional sweat lodge ceremony. So I was invited to join in with that, and I talk about all of that in the book and describe as much as I can, still maintaining a level of respect for the Native American community, because there's a lot of things that they obviously, and rightfully so, don't trust the white man with. So they don't want to be exploited in any way, and I can't blame them. Did you get a spiritual
connection with that?
I totally did. Wow. I had this huge sort of aha moment that all of my life, my parents had taught me to try to connect with nature, be respectful of nature. We go camping, leave everything better than you found it. Don't harm anything. Let's pick up our garbage. Let's not be toxic and leave. It was always this constant reminder. It was the 60s, so I think, my parents were hippies, and they were definitely, I saw your guitars, if you don't mind me mentioning, and my father played, and there's a bit in here about him as well. He played in a folk band, and I grew up listening to Peter, Paul, and Mary, Simon and Garfunkel, and all those guys. So at any rate, I think it brought me back there. I think it brought me back to that safe place that I always felt connected to the earth, to the planet. So after a series of months and months went by, me trying to convince this woman, I want to learn more, and I promise I'll be worthy of whatever you have to teach me. And she kept turning me away and turning me away. Suspicious,
people wanted to co-opt their culture, or disrespect their ways. Or something.
I think she wanted to make sure I was serious. And so I hung in there, and eventually convinced her that I was serious and I was willing to do whatever she asked me to do, which turned out being cleaning the horse stalls and being at the ranch and, helping feed the animals. And so
we hear a lot of therapies that end up putting the people to work kind of, there's probably a reason. You're by the way, a therapist.
I am.
Marriage and family, and you went through undergraduate and also a master's degree in that, and working on a doctorate. So you know a little bit about this stuff. Did that all come about later?
It did.
Okay.
So
as you're searching for
so after the period where I did my work with, her name is Dancing Cloud, after my work with her, it concluded with a traditional vision quest that's for Apache nations. That is 3 days, 3 nights on a mountain by yourself, no food, no water.
Wow.
So there's a lot of training that goes in.
Yeah.
Previous to that, you can't just do it. It's not in our DNA. At least it's not in mine.
Here's the book cover, by the way.
There you go.
Becoming
Bearheart. Yeah.
Are we going to find out how that came?
Yes, how I got my name.
The book first,
yeah. You'll read about how the name came about.
What do you call it when you're on the mountain? Dream Quest?
It's called Vision Quest.
Vision Quest. Okay.
So when you're up there, it sort of puts you into a state of trauma again, but it tells your body to just release anything that feels logical so that you can receive your vision about whatever it is you need for healing, whatever your life purpose is, that sort of thing.
Wow.
So I got this vision about being a therapist, and I'd never really considered doing it before. I barely graduated high school. I was dyslexic as a kid, and it was undiagnosed, and I struggled. And so, I thought, I'm not smart enough to go to college. I didn't think I could do this. But lo and behold, when I went in to take my entrance exams, I did great, and then I fell in love with school. And so I did my undergrad here in California, and then I did graduate school in Colorado, and then I came back to California and started my doctorate, and haven't finished it yet, but I will. And in between, the other half of the book talks about how trauma affects the body and the mind and changes the chemistry. So what happened was I got very, very sick. And I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and it really affected my ability to think, my ability to move, because inflammation is a very big part of that.
And this all kind of was manifested from your depression and your
my
unresolved
original
issues,
trauma.
and it just can eat away at you.
It does. Yeah, it does. It has a physiological and biological effect on the body. So you can help the brain and the mind, the emotions, with medication. But when the body is attacking itself, which is what happens in autoimmune diseases, there's not a lot you can do. So of course they throw steroids at you and say do the best you can, and that wasn't enough for me. I needed to figure out what was going on and figure out a way to heal it. And part of my training at Naropa was, which was my grad school, was mindfulness meditation. And being mindful and being accepting of your experiences moment to moment is really the key to just about everything. If you can learn how to do that and do it on a regular basis, you will be a much happier person and a much healthier person.
Better than just going to the medical doctor and they give you drugs, which I never like. I don't like that, and I never will go through that. There's always another way, but you had to go find your own.
I had to find my own. And I'm not saying that medications aren't necessary. I still am on medications, but I went from 9 prescription medications to 4 in less than a year.
Wow.
So it's amazing the difference it can make. And I really, I'm not touting any sort of magical, this is not magic. This is not anything that is special to any particular person. Anyone can learn how to just become more focused on ourselves. And in this day and age, with phones and iPads and so much TV, and there's noise constantly going on, and there's always ways to keep busy in your brain, we need silence. We need moments to come back to our bodies. And this is definitely, I think, what helped save me.
Now, not everybody has to do a full vision quest, but there's still ways now where you could just kind of get some quiet time, clear out your head, turn off all the thing, and just
connect to nature, connect to yourself, connect to one another as human beings. That's a really big piece.
Now, this book, first, I want to read about the whole Vision Quest adventure.
Yes.
That's in there, detailed?
It is.
Pretty detailed.
It's very detailed, and there are actual pieces in there from my journal. So I just typed just exactly what I wrote in my journal and take you through the entire experience.
So besides being very interesting in Vision Quest and becoming Bearheart and stuff like that, will this book help people?
I hope so. I think one of the reasons it took me 30 years was because I wasn't really sure I had a message to share with anybody that was worthy of a publication. But I hope so. That is my intent anyway.
And if I don't want to spoiler on the book, but did you come out the other end okay and a stronger, better person?
I believe I did.
You were able to actually write a book and finish a book.
Finish it. Yeah, absolutely. So, maybe that's what the illness allowed me to do. It made me stop. Mm-hmm. And when I stopped being crazy out in the world and focused, this is what happened.
It came out. How long? 30 years to write it. I was going to say, how long did it take to write it? But
yeah, pretty much.
Now, what if somebody says, I need that book? Where should they go? Would they go to becomingbearheart.com?
They can go to becomingbearheart.com. They can go to the publisher, who's balboapress.com. Or, if you're local, come to Barnes & Noble on Saturday. I'm doing a book signing.
Saturday, July 6th?
From 2 to 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, where is that? Barnes & Noble?
Barnes & Noble, that's in River Park.
Yeah, up north there.
Yeah, on Blackstone, right across the street from REI. So, in the same parking lot as Marie Callender's.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, right in there.
Good.
So, come on down and see me. I would love to meet you and share stories and answer questions or
be cool.
just sign books for you.
Saturday, July 6th from 2 to 5.
Yes.
At Barnes & Noble. You can meet the author of Becoming Bearheart. Yeah. And what a fascinating, fantastic story.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you came and shared. Anything else our viewers need to know before we're out of time?
I don't think so. I think you did a great job of helping me cover it all.
I guess they'll be able to buy a copy at Barnes & Noble.
They absolutely will. It's July also 6th. On Amazon, Google. You just Google it, and it'll give you a ton of places where you can find
Becoming Bearheart. Just Google that, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Now, does your website have some more background and stories on? I think
and I try to post events that are coming up. More book signings will be happening in the state of California. I did one in Burbank a couple of weeks ago. There's this one. There's one that's going to happen up north, and a couple of other festivals and events that I'll be at. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Patti A. Williams, author of Becoming Bearheart. Go to becomingbearheart.com. But most important, come out July 6th, Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. at Barnes & Noble. We'll be back with more Mike and Athena Live right after this.